Hello. You can absolutely judge me. One cup is hot chocolate and the other cup is cake. I like a good mug cake, okay? If it helps, this isn't actually, well, yeah, it is hot chocolate, but I made it with the chocolate greens from Beam. I was going to have wine, but I went to Vegas last week and pretty much treated my body like a trash can. So we're trying to replenish some of those nutrients. You guys already know I have a code with them, but in case you don't know, I'll put it down below. If you struggle like me to eat a million fruits and veggies, as they say, a day, this is a real nice nightcap. Or you can mix it with coffee too, that's pretty good as well. Here, it's these guys. So again, I'll put my link down below. You can check them out, highly recommend. Oh my God. Okay, sure. I asked you guys on Instagram, you know, what non-workout content we wanted to see, and I just kind of got the vibe that I'm not even gonna say a few, that many of us are struggling right now, which is okay. So then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do something completely different. In my jammies, it's late, I got a hair mask in my hair, my skin is like, this is no makeup, I just washed my face, this is as raw and as real as it gets. It's too funny because like when I was personal training, I ended up being a therapist for a lot of people, just like, you know, hairdressers end up being therapists, nail technicians. It's very, very interesting how when someone deals with, oh, hello. You gonna help? Okay, good, sit. When someone like directly deals with your body, it's incredible how personal things can become. Like, why do we struggle to open up to our friends? We can open up to our hairdresser, no problem. It's because your body is directly affected by your mental health. So of course those things are going to overlap. And I feel like that's not talked about enough. So that's what we're gonna try to do today. I am by no means a therapist, but I'm hoping that by addressing some of these big issues and these big anxieties that people are having, I can maybe share some of my own experiences and hopefully it'll help. Sir, so this is probably the number one that I got, was how do you handle the days where you have little or no motivation? Oh my gosh, how many times do we see or feel this? I have no motivation, I'm lacking motivation, I don't know how to fix my motivation. There's no way to fix anyone's motivation. So when we say motivation, I feel like it just makes us sound like pieces of shit. Like when you say I have no motivation, you think of someone who's lazy, because that's kind of what we were taught in school. You have no motivation, you're not going to class, you know, you're a bum, all these really, really negative things. And I think we need to kind of cut that crap. I struggle with motivation all the time. And again, when I say motivation, I mean I struggle to get out of bed. I don't want to edit my videos because I don't want to look at myself. I don't want to go to the gym and put on tight leggings. Like, rather than saying like I have no motivation, get down to like the real issue of what the problem actually is. I don't want to work out because I feel like crap about myself. Let's just say it. We're just gonna say it. So that's just it. I just feel like step one of how do I get better motivation is, you know, actually identifying what the problem actually is. Could be deep in your subconscious. I don't know. Maybe that's something for therapy. Again, not a therapist. But I know for me, when I'm struggling with motivation, it's because I'm dealing with a deeper issue that I don't want to deal with. My 3 biggest tips for when I'm struggling with motivation, these are things that I actually do. There's not some like bullshit that I'm like, oh, just say your affirmations and then you'll feel better. I'm like, no, that's not me. That's not who I am. 3 things that I do when I'm feeling like a bag of shit. The number 1 thing that I do is, this is gonna sound corny, but I have a playlist. It's called Get Your Ass Up. And I put all songs that literally hype me up. Think about it this way. You know when you're getting ready to go out and you're kind of like, you're not really feeling it. You're like, ugh, I gotta get up, I gotta get dressed, and I go out, but we always do it. Well, most of the time. I tend to bail. But what do you do when you're trying to get hyped to go and pregame with your friends? You put on a really, really fun playlist and you get yourself in the mood, right? Same shite for when you need to go and work out. My Get Your Ass playlist is like hella random. Like I got Rihanna on there and then I got like Book of Mormon on there because Book of Mormon makes me want to like, you know? But you gotta make yourself one of these playlists. Like Everyone's got that one song I feel like when you hear it, you're like, oh, it doesn't matter how shit I'm feeling, that's a good freaking song. That's what your playlist needs to consist of, only the bangers. You know, we use music for working out and for therapy for a reason. It's been scientifically proven that music helps. So one day when you're in a good mood, don't do it when you're not feeling motivated, because you're not gonna wanna do it. Do it on a day you're feeling really, really good. Make yourself that playlist, and it's there for the days that you feel like absolute crap. And then what you're gonna do is when you're lying in bed and you're feeling like a bag of shit, you're gonna ask your Google or your Alexa or whatever the hell to say, hey, please play Get Your Ass Out of Bed playlist. Crank it super loud, and hopefully it works. Okay, tip number 2, this is a big one, is that you need to write down your why. And I literally mean it when I say you gotta write it down, because when you see the there's some kind of science or whatever where if you see the actual visual of your why, it's 10 times more likely to help you than if you just, you know, think about it in your head. And when I talk about your why, I'm referring to the reason why you want to work out. And I would recommend you write down something not weight related, like because I want to lose 5 pounds. I just feel like that's just going to make you feel worse, because you're not going to go and work out and lose 5 pounds in one workout. So try to find a reason why that's a little bit more short term. For example, my reason why is because I literally wrote down one day, because your mental health sucks. That's just the way I talk to myself. I'm a very, very blunt person. That might be too negative for you. You could say, because, you know I'm going to feel better. My mental health is going to be better after I work out. Whatever. Make it work for you. But again, I would try to stay away from weight-related goals and think about other reasons why you work out. Put it on a Post-it note, stick it up on your mirror somewhere, and that is your reason why. And every time you walk by it, it's just going to keep reminding your brain over and over again, this is why we want to get out of bed. This is why we want to take care of our bodies. And that's that. Just listen, don't hate it until you try it. Last tip number 3, I'm going to be real with you. I use caffeine. I use pre-workout. I'm trying to get off of Red Bull and do the more healthier energy drinks, if that's even a thing, coffee, whatever. Yeah, sometimes when I'm feeling like an absolute bag of shit and I can't open my eyes, yeah, I take caffeine. I'm not saying that's gonna work for everyone. Please, if you are not a caffeine person, don't start drinking caffeine because of me. But I'm trying to tell you the real things that I do when I'm struggling to get out of bed or I'm struggling with my motivation. Okay, so identify the real problem of why you don't want to work out. Make yourself a playlist, write down your why, and then if all else fails, maybe it's a Diet Coke, I don't know. Something, anything. As long as it's not really, really bad for you, we do what we gotta do. Anyway, so I hope that helps. But I think the real root of that problem is, again, rather than saying we're struggling with motivation, find out the real reason why. Okay, we're moving on. Oh, okay. This is a really sad one. I've been getting a lot of messages lately, and it's literally the same story. And I've probably got it about 20 or 30 times. It's that bad. Of people going in for a checkup, whether they ask or not, doctors or nurses, health practitioners, whatever, weighing people and reading out their weights without asking permission. And I'm gonna try to stay calm. Reading out people's BMIs as an indicator of what's healthy. All right, and here's the first thing I'm gonna say: BMI is bullshit. Okay, and I'm gonna prove it to you right now. So, listen, I just Googled, and I knew some of this stuff, but I just wanted to make sure I have the evidence to back it up. I just Googled the history of BMI. I will link this article in the description box for you. The body mass index, BMI, was invented nearly 200 years ago. Its creator, Adolphe, I can't pronounce his name, was an academic whose studies included astronomy, mathematics, statistics, and sociology. Notably, he was not a physician, nor did he study medicine. Early 19th century, a boom time for racist science. Blah, 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 blah. A bunch of racist shit. Believed people of color were a separate species. Oh, here we go. Initially called I can't pronounce his last name. Initially, this guy's index, the index was devised exclusively by and for white Western Europeans. Okay, so we got a couple key points in there that I want to highlight. Over 200 years old. Invented by a guy who never even studied medicine and did the study based on white men. Why we are still using this today? I could not tell you. I don't know why. I am not a doctor. I am not going to say that I know more than doctors or nurses or whatever, but I feel like, and I'm not going to speak for doctors because I don't know shit, but I am going to speak directly for fitness professionals and say science is always evolving, our bodies and all that. All new things come to light. Fitness trends, they are literally what I just said. They are trends. They change all the time. All of a sudden, this is good for you. Oh, just kidding. All of a sudden, this is good for you. It is up to us as fitness professionals to continue our health education. Okay? Just because I'm certified does not mean I'm good to go. I can do whatever I want. No, gotta constantly keep learning, keep up to date, keep getting recertified, all of that stuff. That is my job. That is any job of any fitness professional. Okay? So that's numero uno. Now, this may not be accurate because the last time I weighed myself was over 6 months ago, and I probably looked at it for a split second, and then I was like, what are you doing? You don't weigh yourself. Get off. But based on what I think I saw, and according to BMI, I, as a person that's 5'1" and 3/4", thank you very much. According to BMI, I am considered overweight. If that's the case and I'm overweight, cool, fine, whatever. The other thing I want to point out is I'm going to show you right now what a pound of fat looks like. Now I'm going to show you what a pound of muscle looks like. BMI does not calculate any of this stuff. It just goes off a number of a scale. I don't know how many times I'm going to scream at the face of the world over and over again. The numbers on a scale mean crap. Even more so, BMI is bullshit. We're making merch out of it. Anyways, so the question I got is, how to handle that. And my answer to you is, I don't know if I can give you the best advice because for me, I'm so hot-headed about it that I'll start swearing at people. But I will say that you have every right to go to a doctor's office and say, before we start the checkup, I'm going to ask you, please don't weigh me, or if you have to weigh me, do not tell me my weight. And you have to look them in the eye and you say, I don't want to know. You don't need to know. You're good. If hearing your weight, you are so loud. If hearing your weight is a trigger for you, you have every right to ask your doctor and say no. And if they don't, DM me on Instagram and I will call them myself and I will yell at them for you. How about that? I did offer to do that for one person. But anyways, moral of the story is BMI is bullshit. Okay. Another big one, and I'm going to speak on it because, it's something I just went through, so why not? The next biggest concern that I got from people is handling a breakup. I'm gonna need wine for this one. I've been pretty good. Listen, if we're gonna go there, we might as well go there, okay? I feel like I'm having like a girl. You know what? We are. We're having a girls' night. We're having a clown night. Cheers. Ooh. Here, all I'm gonna say is I've been there. I myself have been through 3 breakups. I'm 28 years old. And personally, I know how it feels when I've looked at other influencers who are 24, 25 and they're engaged and you see all these beautiful wedding reels and stuff on Instagram and TikTok, and it makes you want to just curl up in a ball and die and cry your eyes out. Yeah, I get it. I'm still there, honestly. I'm not gonna say I've been there. I'm still there. And they're like, don't worry, you'll find someone soon. I went through a breakup too, and then all of a sudden one day I found my man. I'm like, you're 24, okay? I'm borderlining Carrie Bradshaw over here, and that is okay. I'm gonna get in trouble. Picking yourself up after a breakup sucks. It just sucks. Breakups suck no matter what. And I feel like this whole idea of, you need to get up and revenge body and prove them wrong and all this crap. We gotta cut that. We gotta cut that crap. What you gotta do is you gotta live in the shit. Again, I've been through 3 breakups now. Each one of them soul shattering in very different ways. And I feel like I've done pretty good in terms of the works. I had one really bad one where we lived together, shared a car and finances. I had another one that was an emotionally abusive where I dated a gaslighting narcissist. All of which, by the way, I've only recently found out through very intense therapy sessions. And I've reacted differently every single time. So it's not like I can really say you know, this is the method that worked for me. But I will say you definitely got to sit in the shit. You got to feel like shit for a couple days because it sucks. Getting your heart broken sucks. You try to put a band-aid on an open gash wound, it's not going to heal correctly. It's just going to feel worse. This last one in particular, and I'm not going to say which one is which, by the way. This last one in particular sucked. All I'm going to say is I do know the struggles of picking yourself back up after your heart's been shattered. It sucks. And I think the thing that we all forget is that we've all been through it. Like, you're really not alone. Like, you know, you bring up the word breakup to another person, they got a whole story for you as well. You are not alone. I like to think, yes, I'm definitely not alone, thanks to you. No. And I like to think too that, you know, every time that something doesn't work out, it hopefully means I'm one step closer to finding that person. So that's probably the thing that gives me hope and makes me feel better about those relationships not working out. But the other thing that I think is important too, and that we need to talk about more is, you know, you really can't be in a relationship with someone else until you have an amazing relationship with yourself first. And I find, for me personally, I like to think that I have not an amazing relationship with myself, but I'm very self-aware. There are still things that I'm working on accepting, but that is my journey and my process, and that's the one I want to focus on more so than finding a guy. There are good days and bad days. I know personally the hardest thing with breakups is that why is it that when you're in the relationship, all you can see is the bad, but then as soon as you're out of a relationship, you can't remember the bad things. All you can remember is the good things. I gotta like write them down and like remind myself, okay? Maybe that's what we gotta do. We gotta remind ourselves of all the bad things so that we know for our next relationship, you know, we're gonna try to avoid this. I think, like I said before, you gotta live in the shit. You gotta let yourself be heartbroken, and then rather than try to get over it the next day, which I'm really bad for doing, by the way, this is something I've talked about in therapy, that I just try to fix it really quickly so I can move on with my life. It doesn't work like that. You gotta focus on healing a little bit each day, and each day things are going to get easier and easier and easier. But if you don't deal with your shit right away, like I have done, it's going to take you a hell of a lot longer to get over it. One of my relationships, it took me 7 years, okay? 7 years to get over it because I wouldn't deal with it, but it was always there. So don't do that. Every day gets easier, and I hope you know that you're not alone. It sucks. I still have hard days, honestly. Still do. But I definitely feel confident in myself that, you know, something good's gonna come. So, and it will for you too. Okay, last one that we're going to talk about is mental health. And I'm basically just going to tell you, you know, how I deal with depression and anxiety. Everyone's different. I'm just hopefully sharing, you know, my process and my coping mechanisms and all that. Hopefully maybe it could help one person. So I had diagnosed depression and anxiety. I also have diagnosed, you know, PTSD. It was years and years and years ago. Depression and anxiety, however, I feel like it's like a daily battle. Like every morning I wake up, I put on a suit of armor and I go to war. That's really the best way to describe it. Or another thing that I always think about is like, it's like a duck. You know, on the lake, it looks like it's just coasting, but under the lake, the feet are paddling and it's just trying to stay afloat. That's pretty much how I feel every single day. And I find there are a lot of days where like I need a lot of afternoon naps because I'm so exhausted of fighting. Just being normal. It's just the reality of the situation. So like I said, two big things that I do is that I'm on anxiety medication and I do go to therapy. This is not sponsored, but I've had a really good experience with BetterHelp, especially moving from Canada to the US. You know, I just wanted a therapist that didn't matter what country I was in. So BetterHelp, you do like a little online quiz, and then based off that quiz, it'll match you with a therapist that hopefully suits your needs and your personality as well. Just like finding a personal trainer, right? Not everyone's gonna work for everyone. And there are many like specifications that you can pick if you're only comfortable with a woman, if you're only comfortable with a person of color, like you can put all of that in there as well, which is really nice. Pretty much since my breakup. So since like September, I've been going to therapy and it helps. it helps. Another thing I'll say about therapy too is that this is probably my sixth therapist I've been to in my entire life, maybe 7. I've been through a lot of therapists. I've also been through a lot of anxiety medications, probably 6 or 7 of those too, trying to find the one that works for me. And it's hell. It's awful. Not only like it's frustrating and expensive, but the other part that people don't talk about is that when you're switching anxiety medications, that not only can take 3 to 6 months to adjust, but it can have some really, really soul-shattering side effects. Like it literally has to get worse before it gets better. So I got deep. I've been dark, like real dark. In that process a couple times now. And the first time I went through it, I thought I wasn't going to make it, I'll be honest with you. But because I've been through it a couple times, at least now I know what to expect. So if you're someone that is starting medication for the first time, or you're transitioning through medications and you're like, why do I feel like shit? It is a side effect of that medication, switching from one thing to another. Don't panic, you're not alone in that. When I have panic attacks, for me, I need to find like a safe space to recover afterwards. It feels like almost like I've been punched in the face, and I actually get very physical reactions. My face will get all splotchy. I'll start breaking out as well the next day. My body will start shaking, and I'll literally start shutting down. So for me, one of the best places that I find really helpful especially when I'm having a panic attack, is to get into a hot bath or a hot shower. It's like that physical feeling of like warmth on your body just helps release that tension that builds up, because like I'll clench my jaw and my muscles will start cramping because I can't get control of my body. So the heat I find really, really helps. Another thing that I've heard really works as well, and I personally haven't tried this yet, but I want to, is if you're going through a panic attack, is to go and hold an ice cube. Something about the shock of temperatures, I guess, creates like a response in your body to react to that thing that's in your hand, that cold that's in your hand, versus what's happening like on the inside. So yeah, that's definitely something I want to try. I know one thing I get really down about is when panic attacks happen for no reason. Isn't that the worst? Like you don't even know why, and then that in turn makes it worse, because then you start panicking about why you're having a panic attack. It's just an inward downward spiral. I know what my triggers are. We can identify them all we want to, but at the end of the day, you know, people with chronic anxiety or depression, most of the time that stuff, you know, that shit happens out of nowhere and it sucks. So I think rather than, you know, for me, rather than trying to figure out why this is happening, I look at it as like just a side effect of this condition that I have. I have anxiety, I have depression. This is a side effect of it. Sometimes it'll happen out of nowhere. It does kind of help me to think of it more as like a condition like, you know, diabetes, like asthma. Like it's just something that you live with every single day. So kind of putting it in that category, that's what really helped for me. So then I can just focus on handling the side effects as they come and hopefully keep moving forward. The biggest piece of advice I can give anyone is to, you know, stop trying to cure yourself. It's not going to go away. We just got to learn how to live with it. My anxiety is that annoying best friend that I don't want to deal with sometimes, but that's what we got. And at the end of the day, it's a part of me. It's a part of who I am. And I do believe, I'm going to end with something motivational here, but I do believe that there is no strength without struggle. So every time you go through something traumatic or something awful or something soul crushing, rather than thinking like, why me? We got to switch the mindset and say, I just overcame that, or I got through it. Maybe barely, but I got through it, and that makes me a stronger person. Because now when things happen to me, I can say, oh, I've been through worse, so I can handle this. So remind yourself of that. This turned into such a fun little girly pep talk, and I kind of like it. So cheers to that. That's all I got. I think we hit kind of the big ones, but again, I know this is something different from my channel, but we do these mental health check-ins all the time on Patreon, and I kind of wanted to bring one to YouTube. So yeah, I hoped it helped. I mean, you know what to do. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, because why not? And thank you very much for letting me post. I would never post something like this if I didn't feel safe in the community I have. So it's because of you guys that I'm on here with no makeup, in my PJs, drinking wine and mug cake. So, which I'm gonna go finish now. Anyways, take care of yourselves, guys. You are never alone. I love you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.